What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a very packed and interesting topics to go over because the Nintendo Switch sales are here and it's been proving quite a number of things I've said about multiple different games, and man, there is more to do with that. Also, we've got some surprise updates for multiple different Nintendo Switch games, adding in features, removing some bad stuff from the game when it comes to bugs, and also a surprise update for a huge game on the Nintendo Switch. So we'll go ahead and get into all of that. But before we do, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell to get my videos first. And let's go ahead and jump right into this because Nintendo has announced their official sales numbers for November 2021. So essentially, this goes over the last quarter of Switch sales in addition to this year with million sellers, which we'll talk about as well. So Nintendo did report its November 2021 financial results for the 6 months ended September 30th, 2021. The company has provided a status update on the Nintendo Switch system itself, its performance as a whole, and much more. Nintendo Everything does right now. One more quick note here is that Metroid Dread, since that came out in October, and also the Switch OLED came out in October, those numbers are not included in this financial result. I know it's kind of confusing because it says November, so you think, oh, okay, well, all the way through November or up to November, but that is not the case. They report on the previous quarter. So once we get those numbers at the end of the year, then we'll see Metroid Dread and we'll see the Switch OLED and we'll see other games as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the rest of this here with the financial results. Here are the highlights. Now, Nintendo Switch hardware sales are at 92.87 million, so right about at 93 million. And if you count up obviously the Nintendo Switch OLED in there, is definitely 93 million plus at this point, which is a huge achievement for Nintendo. If you just want to do some counting or a little bit, just like, let's just say count it up here, this system has outsold the N64, the Wii U, and the GameCube all combined and then some. So it's pretty impressive. Heck, you can even take the Super Nintendo and you can pretty much take the N64, and the Nintendo Switch has outsold those two systems combined as well, just about. So it's insane to see how well the Nintendo Switch is doing. And once again, I will talk about what this does prove and what I've been saying all along with this system here. Now, overall software Switch sales, the total is at 681 million units. Overall Switch sales in this period, so for the past 3 months in terms of when they reported the financial quarter, is at 8.28 million. The standard Nintendo Switch sales this period were at 6.45 million, while Switch Lite sales this period were at 1.82 million. So they started breaking down the Switch Lite versus the regular Switch. So of course, once we get the OLED sales, they will break down the Switch OLED sold this much, the regular standard Switch sold this much, and then of course the Switch Lite sold this much. So Nintendo did talk about a number of different things and different sales. And if you guys want to see the full, I would say, recap in terms of the press release, you can check out Nintendo Everything. They do have everything on there with that. But let's talk about it just a little bit more and what this proves for Nintendo. Well, one, it proves that Nintendo, of course, made the right decision with the Switch in terms of how the system is and kind of what's going on with it. But two, it also proves that the Nintendo Switch concept is here to stay for the absolute long run. This gimmick of being able to play a console quality game anywhere that you want is beyond what people thought it could be. Many people felt that it couldn't get to this point. I felt that it could be a 100 million plus seller because they're combining their home console and portable, and even in Nintendo's lowest eras when it comes to stuff. So example, the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS. The 3DS was one of their lower selling integrated kind of portable devices, and the Wii U was obviously their lowest selling main home console. Even those two combined almost sold 100 million with all of the misfires that Nintendo had there. So if they actually integrated the software together, which they did with the Nintendo Switch, they can see sales of 100 million plus, and we're seeing that at this point. Now the question begs with this, because we talked about the production and how they're reducing it just a bit because of the semiconductor shortage, the chip shortage that is going around and plaguing everybody at this point in the business. So I do feel that Nintendo's still on track to do very big things when it comes to 24 million plus. I think that's what they're looking at now at this point when it comes to the systems on the market. So I feel everything's going to be okay in that, right? But this just proves that this Switch concept is going to stay, and Nintendo is going to take this to the next system. A lot of people talk about how Nintendo can port Switch games over to the next Switch and how they need to make sure that they do that. But I feel a lot of people aren't really understanding what Nintendo's going to do, because now that they have this successful gimmick of the Nintendo Switch, they're not going to abandon it. Like, they abandoned the Wii U, and that's why we're getting a lot of Switch ports, because the Wii U wasn't a gimmick or something worth keeping because of how bad it sold. But if you look at all of the previous Nintendo systems, usually when something works very well, they will keep it, or if it's serviceable, or if it integrates into what they're going to do, they will keep it. The Wii was the last major home console hit that Nintendo had, and the Wii U had backwards compatibility. If you look at the portable systems, obviously they've done a long line of backwards compatibility with the portable systems, and I don't see that stopping with the Nintendo Switch. So I think that this concept, this gimmick of play anywhere with your system, is going to stay to the next one. And once again, it proves that Nintendo was right with this concept. And another big thing to note here, I think we can already kind of say what it proves, because if you look at what Steam did, Valve, what did they do? They didn't make another PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series. They made a Switch. You know, so they made something like that. They already tried the home console where you just put it right there, or you can even say that they already have Steam, which is their home console, but they went with the gimmick of a Nintendo Switch-like device because they see the future with that, being able to play console quality, PC quality, anywhere that you want, and then still being able to hook it up to a monitor or TV and enjoy that through a dock. That is the future at this point. That is something that is very enjoyable and something that people do want. Now, that's not to say that there isn't room for the big hulking system that sits right there on your desk or entertainment system. There's still room for that, but there's also room for this right here. So they went into that area. So it just proves that Nintendo was right all along with that over and over. And also, this is easily going to be Nintendo's best-selling home console of all time as well. It's passing up the Wii next year, and to be honest, it's probably going to pass up the Wii this year with the holiday titles with Pokemon, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and also Shin Megami Tensei 5. That's going to be big in Japan. Just as long as they can keep the stock flowing, I can see them actually passing up the Wii this year with big holiday sales and probably that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle. So what do you guys think about this so far when it comes to what Nintendo's doing with the home console sales, with the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, we do have an update on the Nintendo Switch million sellers. New entries into the list here. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword gets its first sales, and man, it did really well. Right about selling where the Wii game's lifetime to date sales are at. So very impressive for the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. So I'm going to put up the full list here and go over everything. Then we'll talk briefly about some of the highlights here. So of course, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 38.74 million. You guys can see that. Animal Crossing New Horizons, 34.85 million. Mario Kart has officially passed up Mario Kart Wii as the best-selling Mario Kart of all time. This doesn't even include the Wii U sales of the game. If it did, it obviously already passed it up a bit ago, but this is just the Nintendo Switch version of the game. 38.74 million is incredible. Animal Crossing at that 34.85 million, also incredible. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate crosses 25 million units sold. That's awesome too. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 24 million units sold. If you would have told me that a Legend of Zelda game could cross 24 million and sell up in a Super Smash Bros. Range, I'd be like, there's no way. There's no way that it can do that. But yeah, it's there, man, which is incredible to see, of course. Also, Pokemon Sword and Shield, 22.64 million. Super Mario Odyssey, almost at that 22 million mark. Super Mario Party at 16.48 million. Very good for that game. Very surprising, too. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, that's at 13.83 million. That'll be a 15 million unit seller when it's all said and done. Also, Splatoon 2 at 12.68 million. I'm looking forward to seeing how Splatoon 3 does, because I think that has a chance at really topping everything that the Splatoon franchise has done, especially with the new integration of online with NPLN. With how great Mario Party Superstars works online, I expect big things from Splatoon 3. Ring Fit Adventure sneaking its way in, of course, the top 10 there at 12.21 million, and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at 11.48 million for the top 10. Also, we've got some updated sales on Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, 7.45 million. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, like we talked about, at 3.60 million. And remember, this is to September, so all this counts is mid-July when the game launched, and then September. So not even 2 months on the market, and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword sold 3.60 million, which the Wii version of the game is, I think, right around 4 million or right up to that point. So it's pretty much outsold it at this point. If you factor in everything with the rest of the months here, with October and now going to November, it's outsold it with a high probability. So insane to see that, but I pretty much predicted that based off of the Amazon sales that we were seeing, and also the pre-order numbers that we've been seeing, and of course the Japanese sales as well. So I kind of predicted that this game would do considerably better than the Wii version very soon, and that seems to be the case here as well. New Pokemon Snap at 2.19 million, Mario Golf Super Rush at 1.94 million, and of course the Miitopia at 1.37 million. So yeah, results are in. Obviously the games are doing insane. Nintendo didn't include all of their million sellers in this list, but they just went over some of the stuff for the past quarter or two, plus the top 10. So very good to see all of this. So what are your thoughts on the sales here when it comes down to it? Is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe the eternal? People say that we're never going to get Mario Kart 9 because of this. I think that there's going to be some surprises going forward in the future. And obviously Nintendo has a huge base with Animal Crossing. But for me, the big thing here, obviously seeing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate 25 million plus, almost 26 million. That's so good to see. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, so good to see some of my favorite games of all time do extremely well. And of course, probably going to have a bright future now that we're getting, you know, some other stuff too when it comes to The Legend of Zelda. And Sakurai talked about Smash Bros. Recently as well, which I discussed. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome going forward in the future for a lot of different Nintendo games, you know, and especially with some of these sales with the remasters that they're doing. I think we could see more Zelda remasters in the future as well. So what are your thoughts with all this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, we do have a little bit of a surprising update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Version 1.1.1 is now available, and it adds Nintendo 64 controller support to Super Mario 64. A bit surprising here, right? So Nintendo has released the version 1.1.1 update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which adds Nintendo Switch Online member exclusive N64 controller support to Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 now supports the Nintendo Switch Online member exclusive Nintendo 64 controller, which is sold separately. Players can now play this title using the same controls found in the original N64 release. So Super Mario 3D All-Stars is available for the Nintendo Switch, but it's not available on the eShop, because remember, they removed it in terms of, because it was a celebration or something of Mario, which caused a huge backlash. They removed it. However, there's so much stock of the game. There's so many physical versions. You can find the physical version, and you can't even import the physical version if you can't find it locally in stores in certain countries. So certain third world countries, stuff like that, don't have the Super Mario 3D World digitally or storefront, or don't have it in your stores. You can import it as well, because there's like a ton of copies out there. So yeah, if you still want to play Super Mario 3D All-Stars, you can definitely pick it up. It's at various retailers. And of course, if you want to experience it in all of its N64 glory, you can use that controller, which there is also an update on those controllers. They are getting restocked for next year. So if you're looking to get one of those, restocks are coming next year, 2022. You'll be able to find that. So what are your thoughts on this here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, moving on to the next topic here. We have an Animal Crossing New Horizons update. It's out now. It came out a bit early. It was supposed to happen, I guess, in another day or so, but you know what? It just came out early. It was out as of yesterday, as of the time that I'm recording this video. It was out yesterday, and people were surprised because the 2.0 update is hefty. It packs a lot of stuff. You have the Brewster will open a cafe. You've got to take a boat tour with Cap'n. You also have the gyroids that are in there. Got the shop at the open market on the Harv's Island. You can get the cooking that's going, more of the DIY recipes, and also, of course, to further support your island life, you have all the different stuff that they put in there, man. It's pretty crazy. This game is getting packed full of content. That was one of the stuff that people were really upset about. They felt that there wasn't enough content throughout the time that the game just came out. It launched last year, early last year, and people were saying, man, where's the content at? Well, this 2.0 update seems to add a bunch of stuff for fans out there. But people have to also remember that Animal Crossing is not a live service game. It's not a a live service game. It is just a regular game with some updates every now and then, which of course they didn't state when those updates would be, but I think people maybe want a live service Animal Crossing game, but it's not that. It's just a singular purchase game with a DLC expansion and free updates when they feel like adding them. So some of this stuff might take a little bit longer to add all of this stuff. I know that this game was originally delayed because they didn't want to put crunch on the employees. So I'm guessing this type of stuff that they were all adding, all this content, was definitely delayed internally, or at least made sure that they put it about to where it was spread out a bit so they weren't sitting there and crunching just to get all this stuff out. That's just what I'm guessing based on the game originally being delayed with the content that they launched with originally. So that's just my thought process on there. So Animal Crossing fans, have at it. You got your big update. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and to wrap up today's video, Metroid Dread has another update out here, helping out some annoying little bugs that you could encounter. And I'm not talking about the ones that Samus squishes with her blaster and everything. So let's talk about this. Metroid Dread version 1.0.2 is up. I remember I was playing a game just recently and I saw it on my home screen and it just updated real fast. I was like, oh snap, an update. Well, here we go. Here's what it is. Fix an issue where retrying after a game over would cause the playtime to be added only when retrying a specific boss fight. That's why I think some people had issues with their playtime, so it's cool that they fixed that. Fix an issue where the game would force quit if you hit an enemy frozen by an ice missile with the shine spark in a certain way. That would be something weird. Fix an issue that caused Samus to move strangely when jumping at certain times in the Morph Ball launcher. Fixed an issue where the final boss would get stuck on a wall and not be able to move during a certain attack, making it impossible to progress in the game, which that would suck, especially during the final boss. And also fix an issue where Samus would get stuck in the wall when defeating the Emmy in Fenaria in a certain position. So everybody can go out there and download it. Nintendo Mercury's team have been doing a good job with updating, making sure that they fix any issues that players have came about. And right now for me, man, this is definitely my front runner for game of the year. I've talked about it. Metroid Dread is a fantastic experience. It's a great game, has a great story. I love what they did with the setup and the ending. And I'm definitely going to be replaying the game after I get through some of my other games that I haven't beat yet for this year. So what are your thoughts on everything that we discussed here, from the big Nintendo Switch numbers, the million seller Super Mario 3D All-Stars update, Animal Crossing, and Dread? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.